Hi, my name is Nunu and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be making my notepads, and in the meantime, I'm going to just talk about how I started a new stationery business last year in April and how I got 800 sales before the end of the year with a very good profit margin. So, honestly, making YouTube videos is a little intimidating for me, and I really don't like the part in my notepads where I have to glue them. So I'm going to combine two that this microphone has to be here, unfortunately. These are all my clips and so we're going to be binding. This is a mistake. We are going to be binding all of these notepads. So I have been selling online for 10 years. I write it everywhere, I say it everywhere. I know I'm kind of repeating myself and I'm really sorry. So, 5 years ago, I started a clothing business called Nunu Studio. And that business is doing really, really good. In the last 5 years, we made $5 million in revenue with a really good profit margin. And last year, some pretty traumatizing things happened, which I really don't want to talk about. However, I was trying to keep myself busy and I wanted to take Nunu Studio to the next level. So I was reading a lot of books. And one of the books that I read was E-Myth. So this book basically talks about how you shouldn't work in your business, you should work on your business. So instead of like making the notepads, make a system that works for everybody to make a notepad. And instead of you wasting your time making the notepads, you are just working on your business. So growing it, advertising, hiring new people, whatever you can think of. So after I read this book, I decided that I think I should do that with my business because I work in my business a lot. There are so many other things I can do to grow it. And if you don't want to grow it, you need a system that runs your business. This way, if something happens to you, if you are sick, or if you want to take a 2 month vacation, you need to be able to do that. Anyway, so I applied the things that I learned in this book. I trained all of my employees. Also, I got pretty lucky with my employees. My employees are amazing. Shelly and Chevelle, shout out. Around in the beginning of 2025, Nunu Studio became completely independent from me. I didn't have to do anything in it anymore. My employees were running it and I was still making good profit and they were still able to get really, really good reviews. So instead of working on my business, I got bored and this room that I'm in now was empty. So I decided, hey, why don't I start another stationery business? But this time, make more complicated products, which notepads are not complicated. I already have a YouTube video on how to make these, very detailed, from designing to cutting and printing. So if you want that, you can watch that video. Anyway, so I was like, I know that I can make notepads from home, so why don't I do that? I know that you can make sticky notes from home. Okay, let's do that. So I invested in the glue and the tools. And then, of course, because I'm good on Etsy, I decided to start the stationery business on Etsy. But my old goal this time, because I didn't use social media for Nunu Studio, I only used Etsy's traffic to get my sales. So this time I was like, the future of selling online is social media. I'm going to promote this stationery business on social media online. So I started posting on Instagram. So I started posting on social media to promote my stationery products, my sticky notes and my notebooks. So anyway, so I was like, okay, stationery is very easy to make. And for those who know me, who took my courses, my favorite thing in the whole wide world is to get my coffee in the morning, open my computer, and do trend and demand analysis, which means I go on Etsy and I analyze all the bestsellers. I analyze keywords and I find products that I can make and sell and that are profitable for me. So I decided to do it for stationery. And when I say, oh, I did a trend and demand analysis, that trend and demand analysis was like, it took me 2-3 weeks. I really just enjoyed my time with it because I really like doing that. So after a while, I saw that there's demand for notepads, sticky notes, thank you cards, There's demand for bookmarks. I analyzed the market really good. I also analyzed Amazon because I already also have an Amazon. I'm like, okay, well, you know what? You're doing this. Let's do it on Amazon also. Then I did some demand and trend analysis on Amazon, and I also saw there that stationery is selling pretty good, especially if you have a unique item. Okay, you can't just make any notepad or a sticky note and sell it. So, anyway, I analyzed everything. And in the meantime, while I was home making this my office, I was also spending a lot of time with my dog. So while I was doing my demand and trend analysis, I realized that there's so much demand for pet gifts, custom pet t-shirts, custom dog mugs, all that kind of stuff. But there was not a single custom dog picture notebook or a custom dog notepad. No thank you cards that were custom. So I was like, this is the biggest opportunity I think that I found. There's so much demand on stationery. There's so much demand on dog products, but there's not a single person that is selling sticky notes or notebooks with dog pictures on them. Maybe one, maybe two. So it was completely empty. And after doing it for years and years and years, after knowing how to do the demand and trend analysis, you come to a point where I feel like maybe it's an entrepreneur thing, but I developed this gut feeling. And I talk about this in my Etsy course all the time. I developed this gut feeling, and my gut was screaming. And another thing this time I was analyzing was social media. I was analyzing, are these products going to be successful on Instagram? Because I'm going to be promoting. And of course, on social media, the biggest thing people love watching is pet videos. So I was like, cool, this is great. I can combine my product videos with Benny and I can do my promotion there. Anyway, so I started selling these custom pet stationery products, and I also started selling regular notepads with cute designs on them and custom notepads, custom stickers, other stickers, not just dogs, but my niche for Instagram was going to be pets. Because on Instagram, you need a niche. You don't need a niche on Etsy, but on Instagram, you need a niche. It's very important. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to sell all kinds of stationery, but I'm going to be mainly focusing on my website, on my Instagram, custom pet stationery. So I built myself a website with Shopify and I started promoting my stuff. The first thing that I promoted was my custom dog sticky notes. And on TikTok, I think it was second or third video that I have ever shared my product, my custom dog notebook, went viral. I mean, semi-viral. For me, it was viral. It got 120,000 views in just a few days. And I was getting so many orders from that. I think just in one day, I got hundreds of sticky note orders, all custom dogs. So I had to sit down and customize all the dog photos. So there's a lot of demand for custom dog stationery and custom dog products, but you also have to remember once you start getting those orders, then you have to customize them. And then also send it to the customer to get their approval. Does it look like their dog? Did I do a good job customizing the portrait, the dog portrait? Does it look like their dog? You know, sometimes there are things you can miss when you're customizing a dog image that only the parents are aware of. Anyway, so it took a long time, but I was making really, really good profit because it is custom and because it was taking a lot of my time. I started selling it for $20 and the customer paying for the shipping. Each notebook was 50 pages. So I'm making a lot of profit from my dog notepads. Number one thing I did to be able to increase my sales on my new Etsy was work really hard and really offer custom stationery because there wasn't any, and people come to Etsy to buy special gifts, personalized gifts. My custom stationery, my custom dog stationery started selling really, really good. And so I doubled down on that. I made dog mouse pads, different designs, and every design attracts a different type of buyer. So I doubled down on that. So I created hundreds of designs. And then the sticky notes came to a point where I couldn't make them anymore. And that's when I transferred all my sticky note designs to Printify. So now every time I get an order from my website or my Etsy, Printify makes my sticky notes and ships them for me as soon as I approve the design and I upload the design. So thank God that now Printify offers, custom print on demand products. Anyway, so then while I was doing that, I'm not as active on TikTok anymore, but I was really active on TikTok. And then I was like, okay, you know what? From my TikTok market analysis, I see that stationery products are selling really good. Let's learn what this TikTok shop is about. And for like a month in the summer, while I was making my orders, I was also trying to learn TikTok and analyzing demand and the psychology of the buyers on TikTok. So on TikTok, people buy cheaper things, very impulse buying things. So stickers, stationery, funny sticky notes that they can share with their colleagues and friends sell a lot. So I opened my TikTok shop and I immediately started getting sales with my designs, which was pretty interesting. So now I have my website, my Etsy, my Amazon, and my TikTok shop where I sell my stationery. 10 years ago, when I first started my first stationery business, I knew how hard it is to take pictures of stationery because you're taking pictures of paper. So, another thing I did to increase my sales is I just used mockups. For 95% of my products, I use mockups. And it's hard to find stationery mockups, especially notepads and stickers. But I learned how to make mine. So that really helped and that increased my sales. I'm trying this new thing. These are making mini notebooks. It's like mini tiny notes where people can put these in there, carry these with their books and make notes about their books and put it inside the pages. Anyway, so then because I've been using Etsy for a really long time and I know how to just stand out in the market, even in the crowded niches. So my stationery business started off really fast and this time social media took off too. So I was making so many sales on my website. It was very, very new to me. As an online seller, I was always intimidated by social media because I share and share and share. I try things and I don't get views or likes or any sales. But with the stationery, it was, I think, easier to promote. And that's why I get pretty good sales on my website now. So another thing that came out of look how cute this is. Came out of my stationery business as well. I was trying to promote my stationery product on Instagram. I was doing behind the scenes kinds of videos showing how I make my notebooks and notepads. And those videos were the most watched videos. And a lot of people were asking what paper I use, what printer I use, what type of glue I use. So I started to share those and I started to lean into more of that. And I was getting so many messages about if I have a course, if I could teach them how to make stationery. And that is how I created Nunu Creator Club. But I just didn't want it to be like just a course. You just go and learn something, take a course. And I didn't want it to be like a coaching thing for Etsy. So I started creating mini courses. So now I have like a stationery course where I teach how to make everything. I have a print on demand course. Basically, everything that I was successful over the 10 years, I made a mini course for whoever wants to learn. I have digital art courses. But the most important thing is that even though I'm having a little hard time these days, I really, really try just to teach people how to do it because and the other day one of my followers asked a really good question under one of my videos. She said, just I'm really curious, if this is that profitable for you, why are you sharing with us and why are you not just making it yourself? Because number one reason, and it's this, let's say, selfish reason, is because I realize that the more you share, the more you give, the less you get. My sales were even getting more. My videos were getting more views. I was getting more sales on my website because when you share your behind the scenes on Instagram and social media, and when people see how hard you work on it and how the process is and how unique it is because it's handmade, I'm just sitting here binding everything. People like that and my sales increased. Another thing is this. I've been selling online for a really, really long time. I had my photos stolen, I had my design stolen, but it just doesn't really, it's not really karma. It's like science, you know, it's like, it doesn't really matter. I started selling those designs sooner than most people. So Etsy's algorithm kind of knows that. Yes, they get sales too. Do they get away from still from me? Yes, but it doesn't really affect your sales that much. And then another reason is honestly, there are billions of people on earth, right? Billions of people that shop, but maybe thousands of people that make products online. And it is like not even comparable, that number. So if even if I taught how to make these to millions of people, everybody can find their own niche, own group of people. Like my design style, my colors that I use might not be attractive to you, so you design your own version, and that attracts another type of buyer that I wasn't able to attract. So it really doesn't matter, as long as if somebody doesn't go and directly steal my design. I mean, it wouldn't affect my sales, but it's just I really don't like that. It's not ethical. So as long as that's not the case, I am okay with that. But my biggest fear was that, so on Etsy, if people go on your Etsy store and they don't buy anything, your conversion rate drops down really low, because people go to your store to look at it. They're like, oh my god, is she really telling the truth? Is she really selling that much? And then they just go to your Etsy store, not to steal anything, just to look, which is totally normal. If I were you, I would go to. So my biggest fear was that people were going to go to my Etsy and not buy anything and lower my conversion rate. 4 months, I was able to prevent this because I changed my shop name. It's not the same as my website. And I was getting my sales pretty regularly. But then somebody figured out my Etsy store name, and they, for some reason, were really upset with my pricing on my notepads, which I sell them for $20, 19.99. And this person was claiming that I don't sell them for 19.99, and he just put the name of my Etsy store under one of my viral videos. And of course, I didn't realize this for a few days. But when I realized this, I immediately went and looked at my Etsy conversion rate, and it was really, really low. So right now I turned my Etsy off for 2 weeks, because after 2 weeks, when you change your name, if they search you with your old name, they can't find you. So yes, I share everything, but I need to keep my Etsy store name private because of this reason. Because I cannot risk to, lower my conversion rate and then Etsy punishing me for not making any sales. Okay, by the way, I just clipped everything. I just need to wait like 10 minutes. Then I'm going to do the cutting part. But let me just finish what I was saying. Honestly, I forgot what I was saying. Oh, I was saying why I share these and so sharing what you do, how to make notepads, how to do this and that doesn't affect my sales, doesn't create competition. Everybody has their own market, everybody has their own style, and this is a huge market. As long as my statistics are not affected by curious visitors to my Etsy store. On my website, that is not a problem, because on my website, you can go and look at it however you want. On my website, there is no conversion rate. Shopify can't really penalize me for that because I already drive my own traffic there with my social media, so that is not a problem. And then another thing, which this is not the reason I'm doing it, but what I'm realizing, I am genuinely sharing ideas that are very profitable for you. If you take that idea and apply it immediately with your own style and design, you're going to get a lot of sales. A lot of people don't believe me. They think that there is another reason I'm doing this, or lying or scamming people. So 99% of the people that watch my videos don't do what I tell them. A lot of the watchers just like to see how I make them. They're curious. A lot of them are customers that like watching the videos and then buying the notepads. And then I have my students that watch them and they create their own designs. For example, I created the stationery design course. I was very nervous about that course, but I'm getting really good reviews. And the crazy part is I teach them exactly which glue I'm using, which clips I'm using, which paper I'm using, which softwares I'm using to create my designs. And we have a Facebook group, which I love because I love being around business people. People like to talk about business, small business. So I created this community now. It's so fun. When I go and look at there and when I look at the products they're making, every single one is so different from each other. And that is the proof that you are going to stand out with your design. I'm going to stand out with my design. Maybe you think that this is horrendous, you will never even want to make it. But there's somebody out there that will want to buy this notebook. So for that reason, I don't think sharing prevents me from getting sales. On the contrary, it increases my sales. Also, receiving messages from my students or just my followers thanking me for teaching them how to do it and how I inspire them to start their own business is so much more rewarding. And I really, really like the aspect of that. So I feel like I just talked too much and hope I gave a little bit of useful information, but this was a different type of format YouTube video that I wanted to make just to chit chat with you. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I try to answer all of them, and you can follow me on Instagram, Nunu Creator Club. And that's where I make the tutorials, and you're going to see me cut these on Instagram. It is going to be very satisfying. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this. I hope somebody watched this. I mean, it was just pretty much me just talking to you. Anyway, I hope you like this format because I actually got a lot of work done and I also recorded a YouTube video and also maybe I was able to help you. Thank you so much. And if you like my videos and if you like my tutorials, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It would mean a lot. Thank you so much.